Welcome to another episode of Shine Like a North Star. Hello, I'm Kerri Burchell, and I do these live sessions once a week to help you shine like a North Star. Now, we know the North Star doesn't always shine with the same brightness, and really that's part of leadership, right? Which leads me into today's theme. I had a client this week ask me, is this me or is it leadership? That vulnerable question of, am I messing things up here? Like, how come it's so hard to move things forward? Right? How come it's so hard to wrap your head around what a great idea this is, or how the process is going to work, or the benefits of doing your vision? So, I really want to introduce you to a couple of concepts to think that through. Let me highlight something here. So, if you think of leadership kind of like this highway, where you have your great idea, those are all the main lanes going back and forth, people are on board, and then you need to look for these cars that are deciding whether or not they're going to merge, right? Are they going to get up to speed? Are they going to come on board with what you're talking about? Are they people that should really be on that highway with you? If you know anything about highway driving and stuff, certainly if you've been in rural areas, it's like the worst thing ever if you're on a 2-lane highway and some tractor merges on the road. Or in San Antonio, this is really common. You'll have people towing, like one vehicle towing the other vehicle, and there's just like a rope in between, and the cars are kind of yo-yoing, and it's completely unsafe. And you're like, dude, right? Get a real tow truck. Keep us all safe. Although, really, when we were broke in the early years, I remember towing a car that way too. So no judgment, just anxiety around, is this the place you need to be? And as leaders, we have that anxiety too, and we need to look at, are people willing to kind of merge with us? Or is this a situation where we need to do some extra work to help them pay for the tow truck, or maybe get in the outer lane because that tractor is, 1.5 lanes wide, the combine? Whatever it is, whatever the metaphor is, you get the idea of leadership is messy. You have a vision that you're flowing on the highway with. You're bringing people to a new place. Lots of people are on board. And then you sort of go, urge. Somebody or something has on-ramped, taken that merge into your beautiful highway that is right on track. It's nicely paved. There aren't big potholes. And then you have this situation where a vehicle is on there that maybe shouldn't be on there, right? So, is it you creating the vision on the highway, or is it the vehicles that are on ramping, merging, that are maybe making it messy? And so I just want to introduce that idea with you today on, is it me or is this leadership, right? And the fact is, leadership is messy. If you're fighting with the combines and the vehicles that are towing each other that in unsafe ways, if you see a lot of debris on the road, whatever the metaphors are that come to your mind when we think about the messiness of leadership, trust me, that's leadership, right? It's not you. Leadership is messy. So in that space, I want to introduce you to one of our family sayings that I love, which is, if everyone is happy, you're doing something wrong. Right? Kind of stings to say that. If everyone is happy, you're doing something wrong. Because the reality is, when you have a highway and a lot of people driving on it, when you have a leadership vision and you're getting people on board, it's not always going to be exactly the same kind of vehicle going exactly the same kind of speed. And you're going to have the combines and the tow vehicles and the debris on the side of the road, right? It's just messy. And you may have people honking at you because they think you should get the other vehicles off the road. So leadership is that way. And there's a certain degree where you just have to get comfortable of the discomfort of people not being happy with you. So I was talking with another leader this week also, right? It's January, things are crazy, lots of stuff happening. And not, in all fairness, every month of the year, it's everything happening. And one of the leaders I was talking with just recently was telling me about how they're self-managing, right? So they had this great vision. They built their highway. People are on the highway. Super great vision. It's going to take them to like better places than they've been for years. And those nasty vehicles or debris was evident on the highway. You have the naysayers, the people not buying in. This leader was sharing that they had done a meeting that just didn't feel fantastic. And then self-management comes into play, right? I was so impressed with this leader, really just inspiring me to think through my own self-management tools. And they were telling me that they worked on a pleasant project, right? Something that was lighthearted and fun and really going in the same way. The vehicles that are onboarding on this other project are on the right highway, at the right speed, in safe vehicles. So just recognize that it's not you. This is leadership. It's messy. And when you kind of bump up against the debris or the vehicles, or people are on ramping to your highway in just ways that are not helpful, safe, whatever, that's leadership. And to a certain degree, get comfortable with people not being happy. Just like all of us driving, get comfortable with the debris on the road. We're aware of it, we dodge it, we mitigate it somehow, right? We do all these things to sort of stay on the highway to get where we need to go. And we recognize that there are vehicles that are going faster, slower, towing, right? They're not safe. And we still continue on the highway because that's leadership, right? You just persevere despite the challenges. So when you think of your own self-management and how you get comfortable with some of that icky feeling of, is this me or is it leadership? Do some self-management stuff. Do you treat yourself to have a decent lunch? Do you take a walk around your building? Do you give yourself a treat on the weekend? Like anytime we're sort of persevering through some of that difficult stuff, there's always a reward, right? My partner loves road trips. Oh, not my thing. Do not love road trips. So I always make sure that there's some kind of treat at the end of the road trip. Maybe it's a special dinner. Maybe it's visiting some friends. Maybe it's getting a lot of work done so I just feel even lighter on the other side. I can thankfully do a lot of work in the vehicle while we're driving. So give yourself some kind of treat, right? Something that makes that hard work worth it. If you're caught in the day-to-day grind and you know you're doing the right thing and you have that people are not happy, know that you're doing something right? If everybody's happy, you're doing something wrong. I know that's an icky saying, and it's one of my favorite Burchill sayings. So I'd love to hear about how you self-manage, right? There are tough things happening. You're showing up. Every day you continue to show up. So you're doing the hard work of maintaining that speed going down the highway, following your vision. You keep showing up. The fact that you're even watching this tells me that you're a committed leader. So I'd love to hear how you self-manage and you kind of wrestle and find a way through that Burchill motto of, if everybody's happy, you're doing something wrong, right? Because if you did make everybody happy, that would kind of suggest that you don't really stand for anything, right? You're compromising all over the place, and that compromise doesn't really put us on the same highway, right? The compromise might have us go on secondary highways or skip the destination because this other route is just easier. No, we're going to stick on this highway. We're going to find a way to manage all the debris and the towing cars and the tractors and the combines and whatever the other things are that you run into, because you know that that highway is taking you where you need to go. So I'd love to hear more about what's happening with you and the way you self-manage. You can find me at kerriburchell.com. I send out weekly emails, do coaching, leadership development, lots of work lately on a book that I'm launching called Leading Out of the Asshole Trap. If you need a speaker, it's a fun concept and really helps people like on ramp really onto the mission and vision of your company. So let's chat. I'd love to stay in touch. Have a wonderful day and good luck keeping that highway traffic going the way you need it to.